Hi, Inez Simpson here, and I'm right here in Australia. I happen to be here in Melbourne right now, and this is fall, late fall, and starting winter here. So we're here, and we're going to be teaching Simpson Protocol. We're going to be also going to Newcastle, which is very close to Sydney, and Perth, and Toowoomba, which is not really a big place, but one of my favorite people live there. And then we're going to Brisbane and in a little town near Brisbane. And I always forget the name, sorry Susie, but I'll be there with Susie Hall and we'll teach 4 days SP. And then we're going to go to Cairns and do the same thing. And then off to Auckland, New Zealand, and then back home to Parksville, British Columbia. So that's our trek this time. So we'll be teaching Simpson Protocol, which I consider hypnosis because that is my style of hypnosis, but it's also what I think of as the easiest form of hypnosis, bringing down things down to the simplest form. And that's what we're doing here. But what I want to talk about in this video is inductions, because inductions are the thing that people think about the most when they, oh my God, how do you do inductions? And what about inductions? And I'm here to tell you that inductions, I'm being drowned out by the parrots and the parakeets. That's the parakeet today, but they're all over. And then the myna birds, it's really noisy bird place, which is lovely. Not so great for the video, but it's lovely. I like it a lot. Anyway, so I'll just keep talking through it and you'll be fine. Now let's see, where was I? I was going to tell you that inductions really are the simplest part of hypnosis. And I know there's courses everywhere on inductions and they're all so much fun to do. But really inductions are very simple. So what I'm actually going to do in this video is give you the 3 steps that I teach in my mentoring program, the 3 steps to any induction. Once you have those 3 steps, you can create any induction that there is. So when you go to YouTube, you see all these inductions and they look fantastic, and they are. But they're all the same, one induction, because there's a process to an induction, and if you follow the process, you can create any induction, and it's so much fun. But if you think about it, that's the smallest part of a session. But it's the most fun for people to learn and to do. So you understand that it's a little tiny thing that is very simple, that you can create many times. You'll see videos, you'll see get classes on, anything from a 20-minute induction down to a very instant induction, but they all have the same process. And I will teach you that as just like I do in my mentoring program. Well, talking about inductions, I've got a hypnosis program on Voice America, and it's called Hypnosis Everywhere because it's everywhere. That's what it's all about. We talk about all that kind of stuff. So even today, you've been into hypnosis many times all by yourself, naturally, because remember I always tell you things like this is like breathing. And so you've induced yourself many times. You may have been reading a book. You might have even been listening to the news, one of the best entertainments on TV today. And we won't get into that. Okay, but TV really is the best induction, because you sit there, the moment you sit down, you think, the day's done, I can do this, I'm just going to sort of shut off. And you even have an intentional idea of shutting down. And you sit down and soon here come the commercials, and it's flashing the lights at you, and the colors are changing, and there's very subtle things that they do continuously, and then they compound those commercials, and they time the pizza commercials and the Tide commercial, and Tide one always hits me because it's the one I was always sort of focused on. So that is an induction. So you understand that inductions are everywhere, and hypnosis is everywhere, and hypnosis is just about everything. So, as a sidebar to that, now I've told you that you're going to get hypnotized all the time by everywhere and by everyone. But the only difference between what we do as hypnotists is we tell you we're going to do it, and we ask permission We get a contract with you to do only the things you ask us to do. But no, not TV. TV is there, they can just plunk away and they don't have to have permission for anything. And if you thought about that, no one is allowed to do anything without permission in today's age. You need to be legal, this and that. But we can bypass that. And now on the internet is really a different sort of thing. It's a little bit different kettle of fish. They're having to work much harder on the internet because it's so more focused, which is a light state of hypnosis for sure, but it's not like you're not shutting down and letting go. You are intensely looking at this. Oh, somebody takes you to a cat video, you go to this, and you're learning stuff, and you're always busy. And that's why they have to put so much advertising on it. You can see it, it flashes by you. You may not even take it in, but it's there and it's always going. And that's how their style of hypnosis advertising is. So hypnosis advertising is everywhere. So just understand that and be aware. So these steps are on our mentoring program. And right now, just for now, we have the first lesson that you can just go in and check it out, and you can do it for free. Just go in and check it out to see how that mentoring program works. And it's on esdeleinstitute.com, and you can get all the info there. And getting back to this lesson, when you do the three process, that building blocks, you can do any induction. So just to continue about the induction first, they're about 15% of a session. If you figure a session's usually at least an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, and depends on the person. Sometimes you do double. But the first part of it, the inductions that I use are in 2 minutes to instant inductions. So the element induction is my 2-minute one, and that's what I call a rapid induction. And then I also use instant inductions. Now that's maybe 2 minutes. And then even the deepening and everything, you're going to have maybe 10 to 15% of that session is the induction. So I want you to get over of course, it's very important to get them into hypnosis so you can do the work. But you've got about 50 minutes to do the work, at least in the hour. So the induction is always the smallest part, the most fun to learn, and the most important in a way, because you get them in there, even though the work's the most important part. Well, as you can see, I put my sunglasses on. That sun is really low and it's right in my eyes, so very enjoyable though. So, but getting back to it, what is this 3 steps? The first step is what we call the setup. Now, the setup has parts to it. I mean, we make a contract with the client. You're going to go, you see these YouTube videos and stuff. If the guy says, he goes up to him and he says, would you like to go into hypnosis? Would you like to try it? Would you like to do it? Whatever he says. And they say no, they never turn the cameras on. You don't see those people because you need permission. So, but as soon as he says, yes, that's great, then they do it and they snap and you go, what? What happened there? That guy just boonk. And you go, really? Yes, really. And this is part of the setup. That's the setup. You usually tell them what you're going to do. In a moment, I'm going to snap my fingers, blah, blah, blah. Whatever their style is, whatever their thing is. And after that, you do. So then you have to keep talking and take what we say control. Now, we're not taking control of the person because they're in total control all the time in hypnosis. But what we call control of the delivery. Control of talking and keeping talking. Because if you don't keep talking, they'll just open their eyes and say, oh, what happened? So the 3 steps to any instant induction are the setup, a shock, and then taking control of the process. So in the setup, the first part, you're setting up the induction. You're going to first get permission from the person. It's what we call making the contract. Hi, if there was street hypnosis, I'd say, hi, would you like to go into hypnosis today? And if they say no, well, nothing happens. We move on. And if they say yes, then I'll start saying, well, this is what I'm going to do. In a moment, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to snap my fingers. I'm going to do this. do this. And when that happens, I'm going to see that you just allow yourself to do this and this and this. In the setup, you're also going to look for compliance. And actually, I think this is sort of, some people will do it slightly before the complete setup. They'll say, oh, well, can you move over here because my camera's here, or whatever. And you'll do the same thing subtly in your office about certain things, just to see if they're going to follow direction. Then they do the setup. Most people, sometimes they shift those, but they're all part of that simple setup process. So you want to make sure that that compliance is really there before you do that with the camera rolling. So the 3 steps are contract, compliance, and explanation. So the second step is the shock. Now, the interesting thing about an instant induction is if you've got the contract and they're compliant and they really want to go into hypnosis and there's no resistance, they can't help going into hypnosis. It just happens. The shock that is used doesn't have to be like major. You know, you see them sometimes yell, sleep! Or if you have a maternal person like me, go, sleep? You don't necessarily, but it's a slight shock, and we create a slight shock, and that's to the nervous system. So it's something that naturally happens spontaneously. And even if you did it 100 times, they could never find the exact time that you're going to do that. And when that happens, they go in. Now the trick is that you keep talking. Or if you hadn't had the contract and you did that, they'd come right out and they wouldn't ever go in again. And that would be really stupid. I've seen people do stupid things like that. That's pretty dumb, because that broke your contract of asking permission. And of course, the most important part is taking control of the trance, the process. As I said, you just keep talking, or sometimes you're going to be deepening, and sometimes you'll do kinesthetic deepening. You'll see people just rock them a little bit, or use more words, or slight, even visual ones, in all kinds of different styles of deepening. But as long as you're talking, the person's happy and happily just going deeper. So those are the 3 steps to any instant induction. Go watch them. It's really fun. You'll learn a lot if you start to be quite critical in how you view them, because at first you go, wow, that's great. And you should be wowed, because we're pretty good at it. But it's also, this is all about you understanding how it works, and it's really quite easy. So go check it out. I mean, this is the sort of thing I teach in the mentoring program. I do everything, but we go much further. We go in depth, and we go all the way to certification of becoming a hypnotist or a consulting hypnotist. All these terms, they're all the same. We all do hypnosis. But all of that. And if you wanted to, you could go all the way to Simpson Protocol. And like I said before, I think I did say this, that you are going to get a first free lesson just to check it out. And then you go to esdeleinstitute.com and go on something that says mentoring, personal mentoring, something. It says something about mentoring. So just check it out and have a good look.